Welcome to the Pharmacy Podcast. Join us as we delve into the dynamic world of pharmacy, exploring the latest trends, innovations, and insights that shape the industry. Our podcast is proudly brought to you by Independent Pharmacies Australia IPA, dedicated to supporting independent and bannered pharmacies nationwide. We're committed to connecting all member pharmacies under the IPA national brand, recognized by Australians for elevating community healthcare to meet local needs. Our vision drives our mission to empower pharmacists and pharmacy professionals. From discussions on healthcare advancements and regulatory updates to interviews with industry experts and success stories from pharmacy professionals, we cover it all. Our goal is to inspire and equip pharmacists to thrive in today's ever-evolving landscape while championing the values of independence, community, and excellence. Today's episode is a special one because we're exploring the unique collaboration between DBG Health, PharmaPrograms, and Independent Pharmacies of Australia IPA. Three organizations working together to transform healthcare delivery at the very grassroots level. So how do they connect? DBG Health is the umbrella organization, a dynamic health, wellness, and pharmacy-centered group that is all about supporting community health through smarter solutions and partnerships. PharmaPrograms sits under the DBG family, and they're the engine behind many of the professional services programs pharmacists use today. They work closely with pharmaceutical companies, tech partners, and pharmacists nationwide to deliver programs that are practical, efficient, and patient-focused. And IPA is a member-based network of pharmacies supported by DBG. IPA gives its pharmacies the tools, resources, and programs, which are often powered by PharmaPrograms, that they need to thrive in a growing and competitive environment. Today, I have the pleasure of speaking to Nader Mitri, who is an executive director within PharmaPrograms, where he spearheads the development of pharmacy and patient engagement initiatives, driving innovative solutions across the healthcare landscape. With 20 years of experience as a pharmacist, Nader brings a deep understanding of the industry, having previously owned 3 community pharmacies and serving as a committee member for the Pharmacy Guild. He holds a master's degree in health economics, which further enriches his strategic approach to improving patient outcomes and fostering collaborations within the pharmaceutical sector. So, if you were to actually walk into a room and you were asked to tell them, the whole room, who you are and what you do, what would you say?
Hello, I'm Nader. I'm a pharmacist and I've been working in pharmacy for over 20 years. And now I help pharmacists and pharma companies do better for their patients.
So I'm going to take us on a little bit of a journey. Correct me if I make a mistake in any area. So after you finish the master's degree and after you finish being a pharmacy owner, you then moved into PharmaPrograms. And now you're looking over the whole umbrella piece of Axe Health. And can you just break down for me what is in the Axe Health portfolio, so I've got a better understanding of that?
Yeah, Axe Health is, we've got two, we look at this in 2 components. We have the B2B side of the business, or health services B2B side of the business, which is all around how we work with healthcare and pharma companies in Australia. And then we have our incubator piece, which is how can we launch or assist new startups within the healthcare services. And it's very much around healthcare services. How do we launch new startups or incubate ideas around the health startups or health industry? So in terms of established business, we have PharmaPrograms, which I've detailed. We have our Wellness for Life business, which is nurse engagement and nurse support, both to patients and to pharmacy. So running clinics, vaccination clinics, injection clinics, screening clinics in community pharmacy. We have our PharmaForce business, which is our medical detailing business, so contracted sales for other pharma partners. There is Prax Hub, which is our online education platform, so CPD for a wide range of healthcare practitioners globally. And Prax Hub is free for all practitioners, whether you're a GP or a pharmacist or a nurse. And then on the startup side, we've got our precision health or our diagnostics business. Some pharmacists may have worked with us in our IPA ACE branded trial of the point of care testing machines.
Yeah.
And also we have the Arrowvet business, which is our generics for veterinary products, which is still very much in our startup phase as well.
Okay, well, I don't know if I should be congratulating you on your promotion or, because that sounds like a big load. Like it's massive, massive. But I'm sure, and this is me just now asking and just being curious. Would you say that some of the elements you've done, being a pharmacy owner, doing the degrees, has led you to where you are right now? Because sometimes I tend to wonder, as a pharmacist, and myself being a pharmacist, I trained, I became a pharmacist, and then at one point, it felt like I'd hit the ceiling. It was only when I went into corporate that I actually noticed there was more, but even still then in corporate, there's the danger of actually hitting the ceiling again. But you look like you're breaking some ceilings there and making inroads. So would you say that, what bit of your whole career has probably led to what you're doing today? Has catapulted you in this area?
Yeah, my wanting to have conversations with everyone. My getting to pharma programs was as a result of building a network through pharmacy. The team that founded Pharma Programs, including Kos Galavos and Kontain Galakis and Adam, I had known them for a long time before I started working within Pharma Programs, and I got to know them through my network of pharmacists. And I'm obviously I have some skills that they desired, and so when it was time for me to step away from being a pharmacist full time, that's when the opportunity came up for them to say, this is an opportunity we think you would take, and would you be interested in joining us on this journey? And that's how I ended up where I am now. So it's a blend, right? There's a bit of luck in there, and everyone has a bit of luck, but also you have to make your own luck. You have to work hard, and you have to put yourself out there, and you need to talk to people and talk to as many people as you can, and just be a genuinely good person. And people will be drawn to that. And I think that that's probably one of my softer skills, that I can build some great, strong relationships just through being a nice person. I don't know, Melody, you have to tell me whether you think I'm a nice person or not, but
Well, well,
but also I think that you touched on it really, one of my sore points with pharmacy. I have some strong opinions on certain things, and one I think that is that pharmacy owners don't treat their pharmacists well enough at all. I think that, I don't think that it's when I look at a lot of my colleagues who don't work, who I went through uni with, who don't work in pharmacy anymore, a lot of it is because they had the same feeling as you. They hit that glass ceiling and they didn't know how to break through it. And so they get to the point in community pharmacy, they go, well, if I'm not an owner and I don't want to be an owner, what am I going to do? Because they look at their friends who they went to high school with, and some are lawyers, some work in bankers, some work in finance, and they can see this really clear career progression that their colleagues have got.
Mm-hmm.
Or their friends. If you work in a bank, or if you work in finance, or if you're a lawyer, or if you're an accountant, you have a career path, because often the companies that they work for have that established already. Then they walk into a pharmacy and they work in the same four walls every day. Their owners don't treat them, the store owners don't treat them very well sometimes. And they go, well, what's the point? I'm going to go and work in industry. And that's what they do. And so therefore, that's why we tend to find it really hard I find it easy to bring pharmacists into pharma programs, but owners find it very hard to find employee pharmacists.
You're very true when you've said everything that you've said right there is crystal, because I don't know if you know, I actually stepped away from pharmacy. I actually wanted to step away from pharmacy at one point because I just thought, where else? What else can I do? And apart from becoming a partner or part owner, and it's not like property where you can go online and just look for a house that suits your, likes and needs. You actually almost need an invite to become a partner in some of the pharmacies that we work in. And if you're not exposed to that or you don't have that opportunity, what then?
Yes.
Where do you go?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, 100% resonate with that. And if it wasn't in my case, it was pure serendipity that brought me to working for IPA and DBG as well. It was pure serendipity. And if it hadn't been someone putting my name forward in some conversation, I wouldn't be here. And it shouldn't be that way. It should not be that you just need luck to be on your side. There needs to be some sort of pathways that we need to create for new pharmacists coming into the industry, as well as other pharmacists in the industry.
Yeah, look, pharmacy is a really exciting career choice. You can do so much. You can do so much with a pharmacy degree. Unfortunately, the universities don't tell student pharmacists or those thinking about pharmacy about what that is. So you kind of walk into it thinking, I'm either going to work in a hospital or I'm going to work in retail. And then some have the idea of working in industry, but they don't really know what working in industry actually means.
Yes.
Or they think you're just going to go and work for a big pharma company.
Or you're going to become a drug rep. Yes, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
So with pharma programs, when I look at it, because I've used it in the pharmacy setting. So obviously, by the time I became a pharmacist, I remember one of the very first programs that used to come up on pharma programs was the Lipitor, atorvastatin sort of interaction consulting.
Yeah, I think that would have been before my time.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I am not that old. Stop.
Just before my time. But we had this extended program, which was one of our first programs, which was around supporting pharmacists to engage with their patients. Right? Saxenda, cold chain, injectable, those things. Yeah.
So that's what I want to understand a little bit, because I remember my boss saying, oh, don't forget to claim on pharma programs for all the interactions that you're making. And
Yep.
I think it was only after I started working with IPA that I somewhat had an understanding that, okay, so there's more to what I'm doing with the pharma programs. It's not just about the claiming. There's actually a whole sphere around it. Could you just break it down for me? Because I think that's where the chain of sort of command, number one, and also the benefit of doing a pharma program. And who is the winner? Who wins?
The chain of command is interesting because it goes back to this whole owners looking at one thing and employee pharmacists thinking more holistically sometimes than owners do about their patients. And so that breaks down, that's creating the divide there, where the owner is saying to you, put the claim in because the owner is thinking about the financial reward, and you're thinking, this is just a financial reward, I don't really understand why I'm doing it, but there's more to it. There's a lot more to it, because from our perspective, or from a pharma program's perspective, it's about engaging your patients, having a conversation with them, talking to them about the treatment that the doctor has prescribed for them, whether it's a new therapy or an old therapy, or giving them some advice. And what we want you to do is actually, we're paying you to deliver a service. We're paying pharmacies to deliver a service. We recognize that pharmacists are valuable and that they can make a contribution. And so we're saying, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Pharmacist, or Mr. and Miss Pharmacist, we're giving you some money in recompense for your time for spending it with your patients. We know you could pick 10 or 20 or 30 different other things to be doing, but here we want you to prioritize this. We want you to spend time with your patient and have this discussion with them. Enroll them in our support program. Why? Well, we know, and all the evidence suggests, and you can go and Google it and ask ChatGPT or Copilot or whoever else it is, there is a stack of research to show that the patients who get supported, the patients who get enrolled in patient support programs, are more adherent and more compliant. And that's important because, one, it means instead of coming to your pharmacy for their prescription 6 times a year, they'll actually come 8, 10, or 12 times a year. And those dispensing fees that you will get as a pharmacist for those extra 6 times, I mean, that's your benefit. That's the owner's reward. It's not just the $10 that they get or $12 or $15 for the claim. It's the ongoing loyalty of the patient to your pharmacy. It's also one of those situations where what happens if Mrs. Smith comes into your pharmacy, she has her prescription dispensed for an osteoporosis product, and you don't enroll her in the program and you don't tell her anything about it. She then goes the next 6 months later, goes to a pharmacy down the road who is completely engaged in our programs. And that pharmacist says to her, "Hey, you go, Mrs. Smith, how's it going? Here's your injection, by the way, or here's your tablet, here's your osteoporosis tablet. I'm giving you some free vitamin D today. I can tell you where Mrs. Smith is going to go forever from now on," right? Or because the other pharmacy couldn't be bothered enrolling her in the program. So we're giving you also we're giving pharmacists a glue for their patients. So they're also a winner. So the patient wins because they feel like they're getting supported.
Yes.
The pharmacy wins because you've now got a super loyal, super sticky patient. They're not going to go somewhere else because they know if they don't go somewhere, they are worried if they go somewhere else, they may not get that vitamin D, or they may not get that support, or they may not get that free needle.
Yeah.
So it's a win-win all around. And of course, our partners win because patients are more compliant and they're more adherent. They stick to their therapy more often. So we're really trying to close the gap and make sure that everyone wins. It really is a win-win-win-win-win.
Amazing. And you said something there that I'm going to highlight. The fact that as being part of pharma programs, we actually get remunerated for our time. And that is a big thing. And it still is a big thing in which pharmacists don't know how to charge for the time and the services that we do.
We give away way too much for free.
Yeah.
Pharmacists are very good at giving things away for free, which is also very painful.
Exactly. Because as the world is changing, we're also realizing time is money. And as services keep adding on to our plates with NIP vaccines, with full scope of practice, there's going to have to be that shift. And if pharma programs can help us make that shift and make it a little bit easier on us, please, I'm putting this on your agenda. Could you help us out?
Yeah, I'd love to. I'd love to. I wish pharmacists would stop giving away things for free. They're worried that if they don't, someone else will. So let's give it away for free anyway. It's a lack of commercial judgment, which I think comes a lot from a lack of training out of the universities. You don't get taught any business skills or any business. You don't get given any business education when you come out of pharmacy college or pharmacy school. You just get told, here you go and talk to your patients. And so without that lack of business training, and you think that, who needs to be taught how to run a business? Well, a lot of people do. A lot of people really do, especially pharmacists.
Yes, 100%. Because in the first meeting or in the first month while you're there, the owner of the store will sit down with you and start looking at a, profit analysis, sales analysis, and you're looking at it and thinking, what are all these columns? What are all these numbers? And you've gone and put jelly beans, the whole box, in the system, and you've messed up the whole, sales analysis just because you entered something wrong, and he's wondering why he's in the negative because you've been selling boxes of jelly beans instead of packets of jelly beans. So I will never forget that. Clearly, I have made that mistake, and I will never forget it.
Unfortunately, Melody, you won't be the last person to make that mistake. So,
and now you have to.
Or fortunately, whichever way.
And you have to answer for that. But I've actually seen an evolution of the pharma programs that we've done. I mean, I was there as well for the inhalation techniques element. So there was a program on that. And then I've noticed that there's been a big major shift in the last couple of years in that the partnerships and the suppliers are, I would say, like on another level. They're global partners, number one, in some of the services, and it's newer products as well. So it's those innovative products. And not only are we delivering a service to a patient and ensuring compliance and adherence, but I'm also noticing there's that training component as well that's coming into it that is quite comprehensive. Looking at all of that, you mentioned the osteoporosis program. Could you just for a moment dive into that? Because you mentioned there's free vitamin D for a patient. What exactly is the program? What does it entail? You also mentioned the point of care testing program. I know I'm a part of it in that we did the pilot within IPA to start off with, but I think the future is actually on pharma programs. And so start off with the osteoporosis program and then tell me how that leads to, point of care, or are they?
Yeah, look, I'm not sure if there'll be a linkage between osteoporosis and point of care. Maybe down the track, if osteoporosis diagnosis can become more of a point of care diagnostic, there are tools which allow point of care diagnosis of osteoporosis. Right now, as we know, you need a DEXA scan, and DEXA scanners are big and expensive and those things. But the osteoporosis program is really around the fact that, in Australia, there's 1.3 million patients who have osteoporosis, and only 600,000 patients know and are on treatment. So what we're trying to do is identify, and this is talking before you said pharma companies are looking for more, our partners are looking for more, and this is a component of it. Pharma companies are starting to understand, really and truly understand the power Pharmacist has and the conversation that they can have with their patient. So they've recognized that one of the best ways that they're going to get to those other 600,000 or 700,000 patients is through community pharmacy. Asking pharmacists to have a conversation with all of their patients who maybe has never had an osteoporosis treatment, never heard of osteoporosis, never thought that they might have osteoporosis, and say, hey, did you know you might be at risk? Did you know that you might have a complication? Did you know that your steroid tablet that you've been taking for the last 5 years or something else could be putting you at risk of osteoporosis? And so this is a big factor for our partners, is they're saying, okay, hey, pharmacists, we know you can do this. We're empowering you to have these conversations with your patients. And likewise with the point of care testing, this is also around saying, okay, the Queensland Scope of Practice trial, saying to pharmacists, actually, you have the skills to diagnose and treat. And here, we're going to provide you the solution to diagnose and treat. And while at the moment it's very limited because the technology is still in development, the ability to do a lipid test, a lipid panel test, or a HbA1c test, and implement that in the continuity of care of a patient, adjusting their cholesterol medication, adjusting their metformin, or there's something else, those in that whole scheme of scope of practice, that's really important. And that's where we at PharmaPrograms see our role is very much in enabling, supporting and upskilling pharmacists in scope of practice, because that is a great opportunity. And that in itself will bring a lot of patients back. A lot of pharmacists back. That will bring a lot of pharmacists out of industry, out of the weeds, out of doing other things that they never wanted to do, because now they're providing a lot more value to their patients.
And that also ties in with all the other departments you work with, doesn't it? Because if I don't have the time, because please trust and believe, I don't always have the time to be consulting with, Mrs. Smith about, her bone health. But I can get a nurse to come in and actually hold a clinic. Like back in the day, we used to have the Aritex clinics. I remember that.
Yes. So this is an expansion of the Aritex clinics. They're now our wellness clinics, and it is an expansion. But again, this is all about not trying to take patients away. This is about providing a service to your patients, to the pharmacy's patients, and saying you can come in and get this service from us. come in and have this care from us, and we'll provide you the resources and the materials to give to your patients, and our nurses will support the patients on their treatment journey or their life cycle journey. And so these clinics can be quite valuable, particularly in areas where maybe there isn't a GP, or it's very hard to get into a GP. I think that's also what we're finding with a lot of our new partners, or a lot of our partnerships with our current businesses, is they're recognizing that there is an opportunity here for us to find those patients in those underserviced areas.
So I'm trying to consolidate everything because it's been quite a lot. Like, I actually was thinking, I don't know if you sleep, but because
I sleep very well. I tell you that. I tell you that very much. So
yeah, to put everything together, and each initiative is actually quite big, because not only I know being part of point of care health screening checks that are happening, and the pilot happened in IPA. You're also looking for new ideas. You're also out there canvassing, trying to look for new opportunity for pharmacists who are part of the IPA family, but also part of the PharmaPrograms family.
And that's around, again, the recognition of the value pharmacies provide. Right? When we see the opportunities that, or recognition of the skills that pharmacists have. The one thing that a lot of community pharmacists have in common is they are exceptional communicators. They're very good at building relationships. And that's something that can't be taken away, and something that we can utilize and give pharmacists an opportunity to capitalize on that skill that they've developed throughout their career. So the opportunities will be often around utilizing pharmacists to engage with their current patient network.
And I'm going to actually quote you in something that you wrote, because I think this is what resonates with you. So I was reading an article that you wrote for The Australian, and I think it was titled "Connect the Digital Dots for Better Healthcare." And in it, you noted that one of the only certainties is rising customer expectations, especially within digital channels. You also cited that it was estimated that 60% of healthcare interactions took place online in 2020, and up to 42 only took place in 2019. So only 42% took place in 2019. We jumped to 2020 and it's now 60%. And so I'm guessing that number is going up and up and up. So I think that customer expectation is tied in what you said before about the osteoporosis program, providing that next level of patient care, as well as all the other programs that come out of PharmaPrograms. And for me, it seems silly that a pharmacy wouldn't be doing PharmaPrograms. It seems totally silly. You lose nothing. Like, it's free to join. You jump on, you deliver the services anyway. And we've already discussed about getting remunerated for the services. So it's no brainer on my end. But then I'm going to touch on how you see the digital dots. So with PharmaPrograms, is it going to grow? Is it going to change? Is it going to morph to reflect what our consumers and our patients are looking for?
Yeah, absolutely. We would be silly not to think about how we can continue to evolve in the digital space and give pharmacists digital tools to better engage with their patients. And that's not unique to us. That is something that we will be seeing MedAdvisor doing, and Scriptly, and all of these other companies out there. Maybe they don't play in the professional services space, but they're all looking to digitize healthcare. And that's just a fact of where we are. I had a conversation with a friend of mine, a very close friend of mine. His daughter is 11, and in almost the last 10 years, his daughter has never physically walked into a GP clinic.
Wow.
Not once. Now, there's a distinction there between needing to talk to a doctor.
Healthy?
There's a distinction between needing to talk to a doctor and physically walking into a GP clinic.
Gotcha.
And so that's where, you know, so in his daughter's lifetime, she may never ever go and physically see a GP, and not because she's never been sick. It's that she's raised to know that she doesn't have to go into a GP clinic. She can access all of the healthcare that she needs virtually. And so eventually there will be a time when pharmacy evolves into that space. Pharmacists are always going to be needed. It's just how we deliver our service and how we deliver our models of care will eventually change. Not that pharmacists will become irrelevant. That's not true. It's that how we deliver our models of care will change. And that's what we at PharmaPrograms want to be a part of. We want to support pharmacists in that evolution of delivering care, whether it's through our programs or through our services or through the technology that we develop.
So having said that, our services will always be needed and will always be there, and we feel it. Believe me, we feel it.
Yeah, absolutely. We are problem solvers. I mean, pharmacists are professional problem solvers, and no level of AI will be able to solve problems like human logic. So that's what we do.
There will be a component, well, with PharmaPrograms, I know I've asked about, you know, the supplier alignments and then delivering services to the patient, but with full scope of practice coming up, or expanded scope of practice coming up for pharmacists. Number one, will you be doing it?
Yeah, so I still practice semi-regularly, and yes, I do want to do the scope of practice course and training, because I think it'll be valuable for me as a pharmacist. I also think it'll be valuable for me to be able to articulate what pharmacists are doing with our partners, to say, look at all this fantastic work that pharmacists can do now, and I can speak firsthand. And I think that in my role, that's my lived experience gives a lot of credence to what we do. It gives a lot of support to what we do. And I think that's really, really important for me to stay up to date.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree with you. And I think as many of the pharmacists within IPA, DBG are probably going to be doing full scope of practice as well, because most of us actually still practice and work weekends in a pharmacy. And most of the owners, so the directors of IPA actually own pharmacies. So, you know, they sort of tap us on the shoulder and say, what are you doing on a Saturday? And because they're a director, you sort of go, what would you like me to do on a Saturday? So with that, we're about to close the podcast, and I thank you for your time, because I know that you're very busy, and especially meeting with suppliers and getting programs up and running. When you look at the point of care testing, it's a program that is quite different from anything we've ever done in pharmacy. This is the first time a pharmacist has probably actually been involved truly in almost gathering the results of a patient's pathology test. In the past, patients have come in with their pathology tests results and said, look what I have received. And it's been more of an FYI in most of the cases. But this is the first time we've actually conducted pathology grade tests and actually make lifestyle modifications or lifestyle recommendations to a patient to actually change how their health is affected. How do you see that playing as we roll it out nationally? And what is the backbone behind success for, number one, the pharmacist, the pharmacy business? What is the backbone?
I think first of all, pharmacists need to be able to articulate the value to their patient, because this is something that patients are not going to understand. Why all of a sudden is my pharmacist asking me to do a HbA1c test or a cholesterol test? If a doctor asks the patient to do one, the patient goes, sure, and just go and do it. Sometimes there's an out-of-pocket expense, sometimes there isn't. All of a sudden, we've created this platform for pharmacists to ask the patient the same question, which patients are going to be completely on the back foot about. That's number one. And so I would encourage any pharmacist who is going to consider to taking the machine or doing point of care testing to be able to articulate to themselves in a mirror, why am I recommending my patient have this test? Because if you can't articulate it to your patient, you're not going to be able to deliver a really engaging and successful service. So before even making the decision, look at yourself and say, Mrs. Smith, want you to take this test today because A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and explain that value to the patient. And sure, the patient is going to have to pay. So for some patients, again, they've never paid for a cholesterol test, or they've never paid for a HbA1c test. Now they're going to be paying you to do that test. But it's worthwhile you having that conversation and being able to articulate it to your patient so that they see the value in having that test done on the spot, so that you can have that conversation with them about their lifestyle changes. I had the test done. I've had it done a couple of times. And I remember the first time I had it done, my triglycerides were high. And I thought, oh my gosh, I'm a really healthy guy. I'm genuinely quite healthy. And I'm fit, I exercise, I eat really well. But why are my triglycerides high? And I realized it's because I enjoy a nighttime whiskey or a glass of wine, right? So, but I would never have known that if I didn't do the test. Yeah, I wouldn't have known because I'm reasonably healthy most of the time. I'm not going to go and ask for a cholesterol test. So I had no idea that my triglycerides were actually high. So there's some value in it for everyone. And so being able to understand what the tests are for, why you would want to do them, what population, or what is a reason for every population in your pharmacy to have the test done. I think that that's really important. And charge. Don't give this away for free. Don't do this test for free, because all you're doing again is setting yourself backwards. You're investing time without any remuneration, and that's something we as pharmacists have done for so long, and it's time that we need to think about how we actually deliver these services, because patients are prepared to pay for the right reason. If you train them and educate them, they are prepared to pay for our time and our service.
Well, thank you. I'm going to ask you 2 more questions and then we're going to call it a day. I'm convinced. Like, you can stand up.
Sign up. Get the machine, jump onto PharmaPrograms and get your machine.
Yeah. I work at Nutri Pharmacy. I'm actually inching my way, speaking to my boss to say, hey, can we get the Affinia machine or the Roche machine put in so that we can actually start offering services within the community? Because that's also what I've also noticed, that's probably what's going to make us differentiator as well amongst other pharmacies. So yeah, so that's the bit where I'm looking for, that we need to be the healthcare hub within our community. I've actually got a question that's come from Joe Martino, who is currently the marketing and project manager at PharmaPrograms. So he's your right-hand person.
Yes.
He might not be your right-hand person after today, but at the present moment he is. But he wants to know, knowing everything you do now about professional services and patient programs, if you could walk back into one of your pharmacies for just one day, what would you do differently? And would your past self actually believe you?
I would have doubled down on having a dedicated person to professional services.
Oh, okay.
Really doubled down on having a person only dedicated to delivering services within pharmacy, because at the time we sort of thought it was an ad hoc adjunct to everything that we do. Dispensing is still part of our core business, and it still will be and always will be part of our core business. But doubling down on a dedicated person to upskill, train, educate on every service that a pharmacy can deliver, not just PharmaPrograms, not just point of care testing, not just blood pressure monitoring, but evolving every time the patient comes in for a blood pressure test, evolve that into a holistic service and double down on those, because that really would have set me apart in the areas that I was, more so than price and anything else, I think. And then it would have also set me up for success now, because my pharmacies would be point of care testing ready. They would be scope of practice ready. They would be vaccination ready, and not just flu vaccine, COVID, but shingles and everything else. I mean, there's something like, I heard a really absurd number the other day, but I was shocked. It was, I think, 10% of pharmacies are administering shingles vaccines, or 18% of pharmacies are administering shingles vaccines. And to me, that is absolutely absurd. There is no reason why every pharmacy shouldn't be doing that. There's absolutely no reason. It's a health service. It's a service to their patients. Nobody wants to have shingles, and it's an easy conversation to have. So, yes, that's my long-winded answer of what I would change.
And it's a free service to the patient if they're under the NIP. Got to put that in there. He also asked something about Bitmoji and why do you use it on WhatsApp? I thought I would save his job and not ask, but since it's been thrown out there, why do you use Bitmoji on WhatsApp? Is it a brand thing or is it a Nader thing? What's going on there?
I just haven't let go. I find it sometimes, especially with friends, it's easier to send one Bitmoji than it is to write a whole sentence. And also, I do it now because my mates hate it. They really don't like me. Because they keep saying that I'm the only person who keeps Bitmoji alive. So plug to Bitmoji, if you want to send me some gear or something, sure. But I just do it to annoy them now too, because I'm the only one that uses it. So that's it.
It's a Nader thing.
That's right. Yeah.
My last question comes from ChatGPT. Now, ChatGPT would like to know if your career so far was turned into a movie, what would the title be, and which actor would play you?
Benjamin Button, and You can play Benjamin Button. Is it being Benjamin Button, the guy who ages backwards? Yeah, and Leo. I just think Leo because I think he's one of the best actors in the history of time. So, yeah, because I feel like I'm not aging. I feel like I just continue to take on more, and as my career progresses, I feel like I'm going backwards in time. So maybe that's, I don't know. I think that's.
By the time you're running health in Australia, you'll be a 5-year-old.
Sure, I'll be happy with that. I'll be very happy with that. I mean, that's why I stay healthy, right?
Yep. I think I thought about the question myself, and I said 24 because I don't know if you remember the TV series, the amount that happened in 1 hour, like from detonating a bomb, saving the president, doing all these, even I was like, shoot, I would not wake up. I would be like, stuff this. Be like, not put the snooze on. The amount happening in that 24-hour period, and not once do you go and take a shower or go to the toilet, is astounding. So I'm 24 in that I can fit a lot in 24 hours.
I've seen how much you work, Melody, and I can absolutely vouch for that 100%.
I will be detonating. I'll be setting off bombs, disarming bombs, saving presidents. I'm doing it all. So, yeah. No, but I thank you for your time. And it's been wonderful actually learning more about the wonderful work that you've done, your journey as well, understanding your career progression, and that you're never bound to any mold. I think is the biggest message I've walked away with, that it's only a guideline, but you're never bound to it. So from moving from a business owner to working in Synapse as a consultant to PharmaPrograms, and to now building programs that are used nationally. How many pharmacies are on the PharmaPrograms platform?
About 5,900. So there's only about 100 pharmacies out there that don't use it, which again, like you said before, why? It doesn't cost you anything to engage with us. So
when those 100 pharmacies, please call me and tell me why you are not on the PharmaPrograms platform. So yeah, I will get the answers for you. I will get them for you. So yeah, no, and so it's amazing, and the fact that there's more to come, and what more
Yeah.
to come looks like is yet to be determined, is even, yeah, it's astounding. So thank you so much. Continue doing the hard work. I'm happy to support you in whatever you need. IPA pharmacies are always here to lend a helping hand when it comes to any development. If you develop a program, you need to trial it, you need to pilot it. IPA is your ground. It's your ground. I
They're
offer
part
it
of
to you.
all part of our family. And so, I would encourage anyone listening, looking for, as having been a member and being part of the family, IPA are very strong, supporting independence, helping pharmacy owners deliver the best that they can, innovative models of care and support. I would agree with that 100%. And you get the opportunities. You get the opportunities to partner with us and all of our businesses. So very exciting.
I will send you your t-shirt after this.
Unpaid plug.
At Independent Pharmacies Australia, we're dedicated to supporting a network of leading independent and bannered pharmacies nationwide with a vision to connect all member pharmacies under the IPA national brand. Recognized by Australians for elevating community healthcare to meet local needs. Thank you for joining us today on the Pharmacy Podcast. We appreciate your support in our mission to shape a thriving and patient-centric pharmacy industry. For more information about Independent Pharmacies Australia, you can visit our website, ipagroup.com, or stay connected with us on social media. Thank you once again for joining us. We look forward to welcoming you back soon as we continue our journey together, enhancing community healthcare